Okay, now we're on to my big tote. This is my older one, but also this is the one that if I was ever to get my own horse again, this is what I would be using. The reason I don't use this with Jasper mainly is because of convenience. I'm in a wheelchair. Trying to take this into the yard every time I go would be difficult and annoying and frustrating. So when I had Archie, I would leave this outside his stable so that we could use it each morning, and I didn't have to worry about carrying it anywhere, because at the end of the day it is quite large. Having said that though, it's really good for organising things, so let's go through what's in here. First off, we'll do the outside. So like my other one, I have a packet of tissue. Again, it has this little Velcro pocket, which again has a pair of gloves in, but these are the gloves I used for mucking out. So I have these, they're actually Shires work gloves, I think that's what they were called anyway. I used these with Archie. Now the likelihood is I'm not going to be mucking out because it's kind of impossible in a wheelchair. If anyone can tell me how you do that, I would really appreciate it. If anyone out there is a para rider or a para driver who has their own horse, do you muck out or do you get someone else to do it for you? Let me know in the comments. So then moving on, we have some combs. So this one was convenient for doing Archie's mane when it was less tangled, otherwise I would be using the mane tail brush. And then I also have in here my pulling comb. I know some people don't like to pull manes, and I completely understand why. Archie was 26 and he had had his mane pulled his entire life. That was what he was used to. If it was particularly long, I would cut it first and then pull the remainder, but I have to admit, he seemed a lot more comfortable with that than any other method, so I decided to just stick with it. So that's my pulling comb. Then, like my other bag, I have a couple of hair ties because I frequently forget to tie my hair up before I go to the yard and then it's driving me insane. And then lastly, in this side pocket, I have a couple of other little useful gadgets. So I have this little cutter from the British Horse Society. It's really helpful for cutting the baling twine off hay bales, but it also is contained well enough that you're not going to cut your finger when you're trying to find it. Then the other thing I have in here is an Equi-ping. Now these were really popular a couple of years ago. I'm not sure, I haven't really seen that many adverts for them since, but they are really good. It's really great for attaching your horse to a hard ring if you want the safety release. It has an adjustable amount of pressure that you can use. Going into the middle, we have two brushes which are the Waschbürste. So these are the wash brushes. These again are by HAAS. I have two, they came as a pack. Funky colours, they are plastic. The reason being that if they're being immersed in water, you do not want horsehair, it will degrade, it's not good. So great that these are plastic, love the funky colours, they're very effective. Then we have my other curry comb, so this one is purple. Anyone who knows me, I love purple. That's why all the grooming totes are purple. Then we have a sweat scraper. This is the one I've had ever since I started with horses. It's quite a basic one. It has fallen apart before, but it did go back together, so credit to that. It's just a basic one from Countrywide. When Countrywide existed. I think it's fully shut down now. I know certainly the one here doesn't exist anymore. So then we have this little jelly scrubber. It has a double sides. This one's got little bump little tiny bumps, and then this side has got the sort of longer rubber bristles. I found this side was really good for cleaning horses' faces where they've got mud stuck on, because it's soft enough and small enough that it doesn't seem too intimidating to them. Yeah, this one's an Epona one. I don't know if you can see that, but it took me ages to find one that I liked, and this one is really good. So Epona, little mini jelly scrubber. Then we have a top zop. So this is really good for plaiting your horse's mane. You comb, and then you can clip, because it has a little clip on the other side, you can clip away the part of the mane that you don't want so that it's out the way, and you can plait the current section. So I found that really convenient, especially with my coordination problems. Even when I was not diagnosed with FND, I was already starting to have some issues, so this really helped. Along those lines, then have a couple of bags of plaiting stuff. So I tend to do the combination plaiting with bands and thread. So I have a white set, and I also have a black/brown set. So there's some brown thread, there's some black thread, and some black bands. And then I have some extra needles as well. Then also on the plaiting side of things, I have the blueberry plaiting spray. This is really great, smells nice as well, which is always a benefit, and it's such a cute little bottle. It's really convenient for keeping for shows. Okay, so the rest of the things I have in this middle section. So there's two outer sections on this, and then there's a middle section where you can keep bottles. So the other things I have in here are my Magic Sparkle shampoo and my Carr Martin mane and tail conditioner, the Canter mane and tail conditioner. This is the best one that I've used, but I know there are some other really good ones on the market. This is what I started with, and I've used others in the past, but I always end up coming back to this. And then last couple of things I have in this middle section is the Gold Label Tasty Bit. So this is a peppermint sort of gel that you can put on the horse's bit, and it makes them mouth it more, and it just makes it a more pleasant experience when the bit first goes in their mouth. Archie absolutely loved this, so that's what I used with him. If you've watched any of my old videos, you'll know we went through a phase of putting honey on there, but this stomped it all, and you didn't have to use very much. Okay, so moving on to body brushes that I have in this other bag. Some of these are ones that I've used and not found so helpful, but also they're just ones that I don't need for Jasper at the moment. So the odd one out of all of these brushes is this one, because it is a Leisner brush. I went through a phase where initially I thought that I wanted to get all Leisner brushes rather than HAAS brushes. I ended up getting the HAAS brushes because they were easier to get hold of, but actually I feel they're just as good, if not better quality. I don't know, I like both, but I have way more HAAS brushes to compare, so I have to say I do love the HAAS brushes. But this one is a Leisner brush. It's the Peak Koenig brush. It's great for cleaning. It does have a wooden back rather than the plastic backs that the HAAS brushes have. Okay, then moving on to the HAAS brushes. So I have this one, which was a bit of a snap decision buy. It's the Western brush by HAAS. It's actually a lot softer than I was expecting. It's meant to be an all-round brush that you can use to clean your horse, a bit like how the Pinto brush is, but I found that it wasn't hard enough to deal with the mud that we get here in England. Having said that, I think it would be good as a second brush to use after something like the Pinto to get all the dust off. But because I have so many other brushes, this one ends up being left to one side most of the time. So next we have the Schimmel brush. Now this brush is very different from a lot of the other brushes I have because it is made from coconut fibres. This brush is brilliant if you have a grey horse. Okay, so the reason I don't have it in my set for Jasper is because he doesn't have any giant white patches. However, if you have a grey horse and they get stains, I tell you, this miracle worker, okay? It really doesn't take much and it gets stains off, and it's a brush, not a spray. You're not spraying any extra things on your horse. It's literally just a brush. So this is well worth it. When I was riding Anna, who was in one of my previous videos, I used this on her. She was a flea-bitten grey and it just transformed her with very little effort on my behalf. So really good. It's also good if you have like spotty horses, so I have used this on Appaloosa spotty horses as well, and again really good at getting all of the marks and stains off them. Okay, then we have another unusual brush. This is the Mustang brush by HAAS. This looks aggressive. It has, as well as the normal horsehair fibres, it also has metal bristles. And this brush is designed for shedding. So I know lots of people use loads of different methods when their horses are shedding to remove the hair. People use shedding blades, they use blocks. This I found was the best when I was working with Archie. I think every horse is individual, so it's going to depend, but this was really good. So the way it works is that the stiffness of the brush lifts all of the loose hairs off, and then you use a metal curry comb just to swipe it all off. I found it really effective. It is a more unusual brush that you don't find too often in the UK, but I think Exclusive do still stock it. Otherwise, have a little look around, see if you can find one, because I highly recommend this one. Okay, we're down to the last 4 brushes. So this one was my favourite one to use with Archie. Now this is the military brush by HAAS. It is part of the Exclusive chestnut pack. I didn't buy the individual packs. I bought all of my brushes individually with the exception of the Alan Davies set. So I sort of figured it out as I went along. But this one is part of their chestnut set, and it is brilliant at making chestnut horses shine and getting all of the dust out of their coats. Highly recommend if you have a chestnut horse. I thought, because it was so good with Archie, that it would be as good with Jasper. I was wrong. So it actually seems to be super effective with chestnut horses, but as is advertised, it's not as good with dark bays, so, or greys for that matter, when I've used it on them. So it really does make a difference between the different brushes. So if you're not convinced by that advertising that they have, I'm telling you, it is actually the case. I'm not affiliated in any way. I would love to be sponsored by Exclusive, but I'm not. So yeah, highly recommend this one if you have a chestnut horse. Okay, so the last 3 brushes we have are all from the Alan Davies set. First one we have is the Coat Gloss one. I know the Alan Davies individual brushes have particular names that he's assigned to them, and they're all really cute names, but I don't actually know all of them. I think it might be something like Mr. Glossy or something like that. It's very cute. But yeah, this one is the Coat Gloss brush by HAAS with the Alan Davies branding. It's really nice shape to hold, and it's all matching with the Alan Davies blue and symbols, so that's really cute. These last 3 brushes are brilliant if you are preparing for your horse to look particularly beautiful, so going to a show or taking pictures of them, something along those lines. So we've got this one. Then we have the Diva brush, which again might have another name being it part of the Alan Davis set, but it is the Diva brush. It has this beautiful dark blue fluff in the middle. All the different Diva brushes that you can get, depending on where you get them from and the sets you get them from, have different fluff, but I have to admit, this does not show up dirt and it is a gorgeous colour, so good on Alan for picking that because it's really nice. This is actually lamb's wool, and it's brilliant at bringing out super amounts of shine. So if you're, again, going to a show, really good at making your horse stand out. Then the last one we have is this one here. So this is actually another dandy brush, but it is a very, very soft one. It again increases shine on your horse. It's made of soft horse hairs, and yeah, it really does give a lovely shine, and it's a flicking motion again like the Mr. Flicky brush, which we looked at earlier. So I hope you have enjoyed today's video. I'm hoping it's not going to be too long. If it is, maybe I'll have to have split it into 2 halves, but we'll see. And yes, so now you've seen all of the different brushes that I have in my grooming totes. A lot of the stuff that I have here, I spent a lot of time researching what I wanted at the time and putting the time and effort in figuring out what would be best for the horses that I was dealing with at the time. And I hope that this will be helpful to someone in some way and reduce the amount of research time that you have to spend to figure out what brushes you might want to get. I know the HAAS brushes are an investment in terms of cost, but I have to admit, if you are like me and you buy the brushes individually and collect them up over time, depending on which horses you need them for, then it can be a much more manageable expense. So yes, hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please do subscribe and like this video. It's really helpful for me to know what you've enjoyed and what you've enjoyed less. As I said before, para riders out there, do comment below any hints and tips that you have, because I'm certainly still learning how to cope with my furthering of my disability now with horses. So any hints and tips are greatly received, and see you next week. Bye.